Welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. Today we have a very, I don't know if it's interesting, I think that'd probably be the wrong word, but important area that will help you tremendously as a coach. And that is what we're going to start showing you is, and this is the very most elementary part of it, and that is how you can measure your basketball performance, your team's performance, so that you can better direct them, so that you really are working from facts. And I'm not saying everything has to be done by facts. I look at it as tools that can help you, like a hammer. This is your tools. You can use these to make you see what's wrong. We are dealing with only one concept, and that is what we call offensive efficiency rating and defensive efficiency rating. It's very simple, very easy to do, and but it's just a start. And I will say this again when you watch the film, that what you're looking at is just directing you in the general direction. Basically, whether your problem is in offense or defense, once you know which area is your problem, then you can go to that and break it down much farther until you find generally just a few things, maybe just one, that you have to repair that will make everything better. So I want to go to two charts now, very brief, that will show you what you need to do. And you can do this tomorrow. You can get your team statistics and do it tomorrow, anytime. And you will take one step, but not the final steps. You got to go much deeper than what I'm going to show you today. But this will get you a good start. By the way, I do teach a class on online, Udemy, that basically takes you about 8 hours. But there you will get the real detail. And we're still looking into the possibility of doing one like a live classroom type of a situation. And there you will get the real, those areas you'll get the real meat of using and developing these things. So for now, let's go to the two charts that we have that should show you how you can start right now looking at your team and finding out what's wrong. Well, as I told you before, this is a chart that Dick Lean did. It took quite a bit of time. And this was, by the way, the 2015-2016 season, not the 2016-2017. Doesn't make any difference for our purposes. But here's what I want to show you. Maryland was the best team in the regular season with an 88% winning record. That's in their overall, not their conference games. Their conference games, of course, are included, but they were at 88%. Now, let's take a look at that 88%. Their OER was 0.94, and their DER was 0.78. This is either you would call it points per possession, or but in the original formula for all of this, the guy who invented it called it OER and DER, and I like that better. But this is a big difference. As you remember, if you've done anything with us, 1 point is the place you want to be, somewhere around the 1 point. You want to be above it when your offense and below it with your defense. And you come up with a difference, and that difference is 0.16. Very, very good. Extremely good. You can see why there were 31 dash 4 team. So just take a look now here how dramatically this your OER and DER tell you factually why you are at your record. Go down here, 88, and it just keeps going down, down, down. But look over here, their difference keeps going down, down, down till they're in the minus over here, these three teams. Um, and that's why they're last. That's why this team is next to last. That's why this team is next, almost last. This is why these three teams are in the top because they have the difference of offensive efficiency versus defensive efficiency. 1 point. Dix works with women teams. Women have a lower OER than men. This is not a good OER. Men would be, to win 31-4, they would be probably 1.05, 1.07, something like that. But by the same token, women have a lower DER in their game. That won't stay there. They're making such great strides that 5-10 years from now it'll be right up there where the men are. But we don't care. It doesn't make any difference. It's the difference between OER and DER that tells you what your percentage, win and loss percentage, is going to be. Now this is just general information. We're trying to point you in the right direction. And so I want to take you now to another chart that we can zero in a little bit more how you can use measurements to direct your team. Let's go to that chart now. Well, this is what you want to end up with. You should end up with. This is very simple. But it comes up with the information that you can at least start with in evaluating your team. Now the critical number here, and I'm not going to go into all of these numbers, they mean something too to me, but what we're looking at here is trying to get up with a general look at your team. Here's OER, DER. This team, and I took their name off because I don't want any problems for them. Had an OER of 1.05, which actually is a pretty good offensive OER. But their defensive ER was 1.09, which leaves them with a minus of 0.04. And as we saw on the first slide, that the OER pretty much predicts what kind of season you're going to have. When I look at this kind of OER and DR means they didn't have a real good record. At the end of 69 games. This is an NBA team. Now over here it tells you how many possessions each team had. 100, just a little over 100 each team. They're always very, very close with this. Now how did we come up with that number? The best way is to do it off of films. And the thing about that is, though it is time consuming, but I would encourage all of you to do it. So it's a learning experience. The more experience you get in these things, the more you will see. We're not going to go through these to see why they came up with this. But here's the formula you can use. This will this particular team, I did use the formula to come up with it, so it's really pretty accurate. Here's the if you wrote this out like you would in a class, a math class, it's very simple. Your points are divided by the total of 2-point field goal attempts and your 3-point field goal attempts, and you minus that number by your offensive rebounds, plus or add to it your turnovers, this particular team's turnovers or the opponent's, and then you add your free throw attempts times 0.44, and that's all there is to it. Now I will show you. Well, I guess I can't show you on this. Yeah, well, it's off the screen. I'm sorry, but it was determined exactly like this with this formula. Very easy. But what you have to do is you have to find like these field goal attempts were under E4, so it'd be E4 plus H4 minus offensive rebounds, which is M4, and so on and so on. Now, some of you may be, aren't comfortable with a formula like thing, so I wrote it out for you. Points divided by 2-point field goals attempts. I just put that in there so you would know where to look for it. Plus 3-point field goal attempts, and that is all added together. But your points are still, your total points, by the way, are over here, right under points. So that would be your first number, and then you would put a division sign under it, and then you add those together, minus your offensive rebounds right here, plus your turnovers, TO, plus your free throw attempts times 0.44, and you will come up with a number like this, right? A number that you saw on Dick Lean's study that he did. This will point you. I mean, I can look at this and in 30 seconds tell you where we're going. This is tell you what you need to know. They're not a real good defensive team. They're a pretty good offensive team. But they need to bring this down under that. So their problem, if I was doing this and looking at my team, I would say, we have to do something with our defense. It's our defense that's hurting us. We could win a lot of games with a 1.05, but we're not going to win it if they're getting a 1.09. So now that directs me to the right place. I'm going to go look at defense and break that down and figure out what the problem is. You keep bringing it down and bringing it down to smaller things, and you will eventually find one or two things that if you repair those, you will improve your team so that you have a better DER than that, like maybe a 0.9, I'll take 0.97, would, at a 1.05, you'd win a lot of games. So this is the general thing. Well, that's it for today, and we'll see you again in a couple days. But this is really good stuff for you. Anybody can do this. Anybody. You don't have to be a statistician or a mathematician. You can be a basketball coach and do this and get your information. Now you're dealing with facts. You're not dealing with perception. You're not dealing with what you think you see or want to see. These are facts. We'll see you next time.